because I'm going to meta this. I'm actually going to record it using a Google Hangout while we talk about Google Hangouts.
And it's going to be awesome.
Always. We're recording now, which is exciting. Bless you.
Type October 16th.
Oops. Let me do a screen share here. And there will be an opportunity to get to the presentation, the slides I have made. So that should help.
I take notes all the time from that pad right there. And whenever I go to meetings, whenever I do anything, I take notes up and notes. And click on that legal pad. You don't? No, you don't.
Can I grab that somewhere?
It might be two more people. I'll wait.
Kathy Gravine's coming, I know that.
Yep.
Jenny, hello.
She's the one who told me they were gonna have extra classes, so we
I need
come here.
I don't have it.
That's a bummer.
Do you want to open?
I was just showing her my notepad that I have up there. I use
Oh, it's an extension that you.
Oh, I added the extension. You have to go to extensions to the store.
Chrome Web Store, yep.
Mm-hmm.
The quickest way to get that would be to hover over the moon. Here, I just learned this. Hold down Alt.
What is it?
Hold down the Alt key and click. Oh, I'll go for it.
Which you never never.
And then manage. Just trying to get to the web store real quicker. And then scroll down to the bottom. You're almost to the bottom.
Oh, yeah, I
Not
see
quite.
extensions
And then get more
manager.
extensions. I just learned that instead of having the two-finger tap, you can hold down Alt and click.
I'm used to that because I do that on my iPad or my on my iMac.
It's the same way on a Mac.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I did not know that.
Oh, I just press on Alt and I move one finger instead of two?
Mhm.
Oh, I love that.
Because the two finger was new to me. I was used to the Alt.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Even
So what?
connecting with previous knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right. So there's a link on the screen for a form. Just it's kind of your yes, you were here, and then there's a spot for you to ask some questions if you'd like. And the topic tonight is Google Hangouts. You could be honest, if you've never even heard of it before, that's awesome. It's the best place to start.
Okay.
Hello, Kathy.
Hi, Kathy.
See if she'll do it again. I can.
Kathy. Hi. Cool. Hi. Yeah, she said hi to me. You're the only one that got greeted when you came in, by the way.
Sorry. See, I
Oh,
just
that's
wait for that
Oh,
attention.
is there a
Yeah.
link for the middle school page?
Yes, there is. It's a bit circuitous, but you go to MS Staff Share
Okay.
and then type.
And just, what is it say?
Steady.
Everything should be embedded there.
Oh, okay. I love
I meant to
it.
see you
So
today.
why do you need it?
I use it at meetings, so I don't
Right
take
here.
paper.
And I could-
My glass and then that.
So you probably type that?
Well, I
And
typed
as far as
in
Zoom
that I'm
stuff,
at this class because I want to keep track of all the classes I go to because I'm getting edit.
Here's
Take it
Zoom.
for
So
credit.
you can do
This one?
This is my,
Oreo. I like Oreo. Okay.
Zoom 100%.
This is my
Thank you.
fifth
Isn't it
class.
weird that you do something with a button and all of a sudden something comes up that you didn't know it did? and-
What I find is I hit the control key a lot when I mean shift, when I need to hit shift. So I end up
Yeah.
doing some weird maneuvers that are, because control does a lot of stuff with shortcuts. And it's amazing. Did I still need to have the link up there? A little bit more? Okay.
I already submitted it.
Okay.
Josh, how well do you date Parker and Kristen?
I know him pretty well. I know some of the stuff his family's been involved in.
You saw that Bingham's casting came out?
Yeah, I keep hearing Bing. I didn't. That must be a younger son.
That is his youngest child. It's Bailey, Belle, and Bing.
Yeah. No, I know Dave. We work together quite a bit on different
Yeah,
things.
we do a lot with Evergreen Theater together.
That's cool. No, he's a super nice guy. And very, very bright. He's
He's too bright.
yeah.
If there could be some.
Funny guy. So everybody got to the link?
Yeah.
Hooray! Okay. So as you get set up and in place here, there will be a link if you weren't able to find it yet. I know there's different places to find the Tech Bootcamp website. I'll have a link on the next slide here that has the slideshow. But this presentation is going to show you the basics of Google Hangouts, how to find out how to do it, what the heck is a Google Hangout in the first place, and then what can you do with it? How does it impact your classroom? And that's what it always comes back to for me. If I can't make the case when I'm training somebody on something or we're talking about something of how you can use it in your classroom and how it can benefit your kids, then it's pointless in my opinion. So I'm going to try my best to make that case for you because there are a lot of amazing uses, both that I haven't untapped myself or haven't tapped myself, but there's plenty that I will show that examples that I've done. So I'm trying to walk the talk a little bit here too. So this is my first example that I'm going to show you of many, many videos, and they're all embedded on this. So this is going to be here for you to use for the future if you want to check these out more later. So this first one, and hopefully the sound is loud enough from here. I didn't have a spare pair of speakers, but give it a try. This was a conference I was involved in. Actually, I was involved in it 3 times. It's called EdCamp Home. And the philosophy behind EdCamp Home was connecting people all over the world without them having to even leave their houses, and also doing an EdCamp style conference, meaning we also brainstorm the sessions as well. There aren't set aside presenters. That comes up kind of organically. So these 4 people who live all across the United States from the East Coast to the West Coast met online, organized this, and then this is the beginning of their organizer hangout for the 3rd version of it. So let's see here. Do we have sound? Oh, we don't, probably because of this. We'll have sound on here. I bet.
Like, are the astronauts making it? Are they on the moon? Are they okay? It's like, Houston, talk to us. Hi, everybody. Welcome to EdCamp Home. It is Carl, Kelly, and Sean, and we are super fired up to be here once again for EdCamp Home 3. And I'll go ahead and let everybody introduce themselves. Carl, why don't you start?
Sure. My name is Carl Stryker. I am in the northern part of California, about halfway between San Francisco and San Jose, and I hang out with 9th and 10th graders talking about world history usually when I am at school.
Nice. Kelly?
Hi, I'm Kelly Kermode. I teach high school in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I'm super excited that we get to bring a 3.0 to everybody. It was really fun.
Sean?
Hi, my name is Sean White, over in New Hampshire, high school special educator and aspiring educational leader. Just completed requirements for my principal certification, so I have waited that in the mail. Pretty excited about that. In the next couple of years ago, I'll look to transition to a administrative role. Glad to have you guys here. We're stoked.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are.
All right, and I am David Terrio. That's right, Terrio. And anyway, I'm super
I thought it was the
excited.
riot.
I will not do the stereo without an S thing. All right. Oh, I just did. Okay, sorry. Anyway, so I'm an English teacher in Southern California in high school, and I'm really excited to be here. This is, you guys, to do a project like this with friends is completely awesome. And the fact that we became friends online is a real testament to what can happen when you meet up online and try and do projects online. So for those of you who don't know, EdCamp Home is the world's first virtual online EdCamp where people from all over the world can meet together in one place. what's really cool about Ed Camp Home is that every single one of the sessions is broadcast live on YouTube. So for all of the participants and all of the Google on-air initiators, you will be live the entire time. If you need to, you can, you know, mic yourself or close out your little screen or something like that. But it's recorded so people can share it forever. And by the way, initiators, don't forget to set your GOA to Creative Commons Core.
Oh, that didn't make sense.
Put the sound into, yeah, there.
Okay, we'll give it a try.
There are speakers on.
Perfect. Good. Well, that was a good segue. Little troubleshooting as we went. So that was a great event, and they put that all together online using Google Hangouts. And they use a feature called Google Hangouts on Air, which we'll touch on a little bit. But basically, it allowed for this video conferencing where you can have up to 10 people in one call. And that's one of the main features and one of the things that makes it different. So that was one of many uses. There are going to be many more that I unveil, but I thought that was a great one to start with. So that link right there, if you didn't find it yet, will take you to the page that has this slideshow on it that will be there for the rest of all time. And it is one of many of the sessions that we have. They'll all be up there. So if you didn't catch every session and you wanted to see something that maybe you had to miss, they'll be out there. And then, like I said, I'm also trying something where I'm recording this. So for people who weren't here, they might get a chance to look at it later. Obviously, it'll be 2 hours long or however long it ends up being, maybe not quite 2 hours, but it'll be there if people want it to hear all of our fun troubleshooting as we go. Did we need that up there for much longer? All right, so some of our objectives then for today and what we'd like to accomplish. Number one, I'd like you to be able to create a Hangout and then use some of the basic chat features in it. Possibly do some video hanging out, and then experience some of the educational uses of Google Hangouts and discover resources for them. So like I said, there's a lot that I'm going to unveil to you as we go, trying to work through this in steps. So we go through the basics, you know how to find it, you know how to use it, and then how can we use it for our students. So right now, actually, it's about time. I actually have a special activity plan to show you an example of one of the ways to use Google Hangouts. So I'm going to actually be inviting somebody to our Hangout right now. And we're going to do an activity called a mystery Hangout. And a mystery Hangout is set up that you connect with another class, and you connect with their teacher, and you set up a Hangout. And the goal is to ask questions to figure out where the other class is, like a competition, who can figure it out first. And the goal is to divide students into different tasks. So some might be the ones who are asking questions. Some might be logging the questions. Some might be looking at maps and trying to figure out, okay, based on this answer, where are they going? There's a lot of great write-ups on it. I'll show you one of them in a little bit. But it's such a great activity for engaging students, getting them to think globally, and also getting them to do some of that creativity, critical thinking, all those 21st century grab words we throw it up there all the time. So we're going to do that as a group right now. So we'll see how this works here. It'll be brief. She only has a little bit of time, but she was gracious enough to help us out.
So we don't know where she is.
I may have let it slip to some of you. So
Yeah.
there we go. So hopefully we can get her in here. We may have to, if the projector doesn't do sound, then we may have to take it off, but we'll see. Oh, there's the audio input. It's amazing what you can find using Twitter. I just put out there, I'm looking for a classroom to do this with my workshop. And, you connect to enough people and you get somebody who's willing to do it. Especially this late in the day is challenging. We'll just see if she comes up. It's always a little tricky. You gotta. So any questions so far?
I saw this for our teacher
Google Hangout?
I don't know, but I'm on a chat.
And she's watching.
Right.
Whoa.
That really.
Well, you have to be in it and have it open for them to be connected. So, all right. We'll see. If she comes on, great. If she doesn't, then we'll move along.
So,
Yeah.
you can be anywhere in the world, or does it have to be just in the US?
Well, you can connect with anybody anywhere in the world. The one challenging part with that is if you are on U.S. time, you have to be thinking of time zones. So that also makes it challenging connecting more globally outside of North America and South America. But it is possible depending on when the times go. And there are, like I'll show you, there are places to go. So I'm going to leave this for now. And if we hear her voice, then we will come back to this. But we'll keep moving along. All right. So yeah, so I'll talk about a few of those places where you can connect with classrooms. I think that's going to be one of the best parts of this is what you get out of that. All right, so what are some of the reasons to use this program as we move along here? Obviously, communication is a huge part of it. It allows people to connect together no matter where they are at. And there's a lot of benefits to that. You don't have to necessarily be in the same physical space to make it happen. You can connect no matter where you are, and there's a lot more convenience involved. For instance, right now, I'm involved with a cohort of people, and we have this plan that we're working on. Some live in California, one lives in Illinois, one lives in Connecticut, but we're able to meet weekly, whereas that wouldn't be possible for us except maybe doing that. And there used to be the thing where you could have like multiple lines on the same phone at a time. You talk to like 3 people at once. I remember doing that. That was very weird. So this is a lot better, and you can actually see them, and it's great. I do this with my family all the time. So we can have my sister who's in Madison, and my brother who's in Milwaukee, and my other brother who's in Rhinelander, and my parents, and we can all be talking together. I can see my nephew even when, yeah, we're only 3 hours apart, but 3 hours I can't go after school and go see him. But yet I can see him a lot more often now using something like this. Isolation. I've managed to make friends with a lot of rural educators. We're lucky enough to live in a pretty well-populated area. We're not usually on our own, but I know Heather, you're the only face teacher in your school. Yeah, and
There's not a lot of us.
And that happens a lot. So this is a way to overcome isolation. You connect with some of those other teachers who are in your subject area, and you can connect with their classes, or you can connect with them and exchange ideas. Or maybe just the person upstairs at the high school. Maybe you might not get to meet them. Maybe you don't want to. I don't know. But it's a great way to overcome isolation. Yeah. Efficiency, like I talked about the meeting. Sometimes it's not best to get everybody together in one space, meet, and everybody has to walk away. Sometimes it'd be better to just have everybody hang out. I think we could do that with our meetings a lot more. In addition, snow days was another thing where some schools actually use snow days and use Hangouts to still do class stuff on a snow day. Because the technology's there, why not take advantage of it? Some people may not like that, but it is possible.
Was that complete total student involvement, or is that just teacher involvement?
A little bit of both, depending on the
Okay.
school.
Because like, this is live, so.
I hear a voice. I think we have somebody.
Oh, no.
Hello.
What are we called? Oh, hey. Why are we doing this?
All right. I can hear you lightly, but you are there.
Yes, I can barely hear you. Hold on just a minute, okay?
Sure.
I can't.
I think I can guess already.
Oh, of course, it doesn't want to go in. Can you hear us still?
I can hear you. Yep. And now I can see you.
Is she in Japan?
Oh, never mind. I haven't seen us. Oh, there we go.
Okay, yay, I can hear you better now. Okay. So, technical. Bye. Say hi.
Hello. Hi. Hi. Wait. Hi. Can you see us? Hi. I'm the weird one.
Okay. We're here, sorry.
Oh, we're good. You know, this is the kind of fun thing that happens. So you're here with a group of teachers who are learning about Google Hangouts. And I wanted to show them this really fun activity. So they're going to play along with you as we try and figure out where you're from.
Okay.
But we'll be nice and we'll let you have the first question.
Okay.
What is your home state?
What is your home state? Let's do yes or no questions. That make it a little more difficult.
So you can say.
Do you live in Arizona?
I do not live in Arizona. All right, our turn. Who has a question for him?
I do.
Sure.
Are you in the United States?
Are you in the United States?
Sorry, did you hear us?
I did not hear your response.
We are.
They are in the United States. All right. What's your question?
What's our question? Is yes
Are
or
you
no?
in the United States?
We are.
We are.
Are you in a hot climate?
Are we in a hot climate?
Kinda.
Kinda. All right, they're kinda in a hot climate.
Yes.
So we've been through a drought this summer.
They've been-
Oh, they're having a drought, did you say?
All right, your question.
Oh yeah, no question.
Are you from the north?
Are we from the north? I would say what?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're from the north.
To most people.
Yeah, sure, you betcha.
All right.
Be careful.
That might give it away.
Fargo.
Next question on our side.
Are they in Arizona?
Are you in Arizona?
No.
They are not.
Are they in the southeast?
Ah, their question.
Oh.
Hold on, she's thinking. Sorry.
Do you guys live in Montana?
Do we live in Montana? We don't.
No.
Do you get more than 7 inches of snow in the winter?
Oh, yeah, 7 almost. How do you think it is?
No.
No.
I want to know if they live in the southeast.
All right, your question.
Are you guys in Alaska?
Feels that way.
No.
sometimes.
Feels like it.
Sometimes it feels like it, but we are not in Alaska. You're not. All right.
Somebody else.
Dan, you wanted to know if they were in the south.
Yeah, they're in the southeast.
Are you in the southeast?
Oh.
No.
Southeast and southwest.
All right, their question.
Ah, yeah, that's a good question.
Oh.
For the time zone?
I didn't hear it.
Are you in Washington?
Are we in Washington? We are not in Washington.
I was gonna ask the same thing.
All right. I think we had our next question.
Tell us what time is it there? That's a yes or no.
Are you done with school for the day?
Kind of.
Almost.
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 So they're out
They're on Pacific
east,
time.
I mean west.
Yeah. All right.
They're in the west. I think it's
I think California.
California.
Next. So their question now.
Oh yeah, snow.
Do you have snow there?
Oh yeah. Hold on.
All right. Can you rephrase the question? Are you asking if we have do we have snow now or do we get snow anytime?
Why'd you say? What do you guys?
Wait, 1 second. What do you guys produce?
What do we
Is it-
produce?
Is that a yes or no question?
Oh,
You guys have like farming land? That's what he's asking. Sorry.
Yes, we have farming land. We do. We do a little bit of farming over here.
Okay.
All right, what's our question? Do you live in California?
Yes.
All right. Well, if
What
we
can we say?
They asked you,
Jessica.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. You're from Vermont?
what was that?
Did you say Vermont? He asked.
Where are you guys from?
Yeah. Hello?
Hello.
They want to know if we're in Vermont.
Vermont.
Are we in Vermont? We are not in Vermont.
Oh.
Maine or New York? Maine or New York are you from?
Yes or no question?
Ask them.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you like the Packers?
That's a good idea.
Boston.
It's Boston.
Good answer.
We are not Boston.
Wis-
That would be the Patriots.
I said Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Oh yeah! Woo! I just can't hear very well.
Oh no.
Sorry.
Awesome. Well, if we had a little more time, I know you have things to get to. We'd try and pinpoint the exact location. But thanks for taking the time to do this with us.
Sorry about the technical
Where are they from?
difficulty.
It's just a way of life. We roll with it.
Yes. Well, thank you. Have a great day.
Thank
You
you.
too.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks for playing.
That's a pretty cool.
I'm sorry. Can we do it?
They were in recess, so she grabbed a group of kids to do it, and they have Dare coming up in like their version of Dare in 3 minutes. So she stuck us in for a little bit, so we appreciate that.
Well, isn't
Yeah. And that was their first time doing.
I don't understand why this is different than Skyping.
So what makes it different than Skyping? That's a great question. There's a couple things that are really the main reasons it's different. The first reason, just at a very basic level, is that it's online as opposed to having to download something, an app, or having a program. So it all runs online. So you can use it on any type of device. There's also an app. So on my phone or on my tablet, I have a Hangouts app. I can also do video calls from that. There's a little less features in terms of some of the fun stuff I'll show later, but you can do it that way. The other part is the amount of people you can have. You can have up to 10 people. So some of the things I'll show, like the virtual field trips, those you can put in to be a part of them, and then you can actually be live there. I know people who have been on Hangouts with, let's say, Aaron Rodgers. I know a teacher who got to be on a Hangout with Aaron Rodgers, so they had 10 people who got to actually be in there with him. So that's one of the two main things that make it different.
When you say 10 people, you mean 10 locations?
Right. So I'm going to show this in a second here. This is kind of hard to see. I'll play it and make it bigger. But this was a virtual field trip that NASA did. So NASA made this available for people. And you'll see on the bottom were the classrooms that were involved in this. And they'll be on squares on the bottom. So there are actual computers that are in to be a part of it.
Good morning. I'm John Yepert, NASA Social Media Manager with the agency's Office of Communications.
That's
Welcome
really
to
quiet
NASA's
there.
first Google Plus Hangout live with astronauts aboard the International Space Station. This event connects NASA social media followers with astronauts here on the ground and those living and working aboard the space station, orbiting 230 miles above the Earth and traveling about 17,500 miles per hour. We'll be taking some select pre-recorded video questions submitted on YouTube and real-time questions using the hashtag AskAstro on Google Plus and Twitter. We've also opened a thread on the NASA Facebook page where you can post questions. We'll be connecting with the space station in about 30 minutes, but first, let me introduce those joining us on today's Hangout. We have with us NASA astronaut Nicole Stott, who currently is in Houston, Texas.
There we go. Now they're bringing them in at the bottom. So you can see how as you add more people, you can push
Expedition
the
1
bottom.
of 21. She also flew again on STS-133.
I can't through this. So maybe if we take a break a little bit, you can see if I can scrounge up.
Hangout is astronaut Ron Perry, currently in San Diego, California. Ron flew on Shell Discovery's STS.
So anyway, so I just want to show this as a point to show kind of how the multiple people get in. We don't have to watch the whole thing. But still very cool that they got to hang out with the International Space Station, like an awesome opportunity that's available out there.
There must also be some rules of conduct, because how do you be sure that you're not talking over each other? And
So whoever is managing it, especially when it's one like this that's on air, if you're managing it, you have some of the content controls, whereas you can mute people or you can kind of pass the mic a little bit. So there is some control that you can control that, especially if it's a big hangout like this. Then on the end of whoever started it, they have some controls over the volume, so that wouldn't happen. And usually people are pretty good too at the same time at kind of nudging in. It can get fun when you have a lot of people, but oh, Michael for the win.
It wasn't just you, Kathy.
All right. So let's get into getting here. I want everybody to be comfortable with getting to these by the time we're done today. There's lots of ways to do it. Probably the easiest way is right in your Gmail. In fact, you'll probably notice it unless you turned it off, is in the bottom left of your screen, you might notice something that looks like this, the little quotation marks, and you click on that and you get that up there. So that would be in your Gmail. And chances are you don't have anything in there yet because you haven't used it, but it is there.
Okay,
so when I think about some of the things that I help people with, and maybe Michael can also attest to this, there are a lot of things where if I just saw what you were looking at and you could talk me through it, I could solve it. And so instead of having to, let's say I'm at Foxview and you're at the middle school and I have to travel over there to solve your problem, we could just do a Google Hangout. You could show me your screen and then we could talk through the problem together. And then it saves us both a little bit there. But that's right in Gmail. You can also send chat messages. So we'll talk about the chat part of that too. Also a really nice feature. For me, some of the ways I use it is I have a group of people. So we have a group of 68 people. We're in one of these chats together. So like an instant group of people I can ask questions to and get answers on things really quickly. So really nice to be a part of that. And there's also some features of that too that could be useful in a classroom. As of this point, I don't think kids have access to Hangouts, but maybe that's something we can see. Wink, wink. The tech director's not in the room or anything, you know. So is everybody able to locate that in their Gmail?
No.
Yes,
Let's see.
in the bottom.
Bottom left.
Oh, there. When I opened a piece of mail, then it came up.
It doesn't really
If
look
I
like
went to
anything's
Gmail.
happening because you probably haven't had
Yeah.
chats with people yet. So as you chat with people, you'll get a list of people you've chatted with.
Well, I think, see what happened is I
We'll
opened
solve that
this,
problem.
I just got it.
Oh, man,
Up here in the
it didn't,
or something.
yeah, that I went there and it didn't until I opened to look at something. And
So if I went to Gmail here, I move mine to the right side.
Oh, can you move it?
There's a lab where you can move that. I can show that if you want me to. I like it that way. It looks symmetrical to me, but it doesn't have to be like that. So if I want to send a message to one of you, I can go in here. And let's say I know Jenny is in the room, loading up Hangouts. Mine's going to look a little different because I added an extension. But then I can, hi, and Jenny should get a message from me. There's a little plus up at the top here. So now I can add more people to the group. So now I can add Heather to the group. I'm going to start with the names that I know. It's Georgianne. All right. Oh. Andy. All right. And then it was Koo.
Yep.
How do I spell that?
KHOU.
There you are. And then it was Sarah. Sarah.
No H.
No H. Which one are you? Yes, sir. There we go. All right, so now I can add all of you, and now we have a group hangout together. Sarah Esser could not be added to the hangout. Well, that's a bummer. So now all of you except for Sarah should have gotten it, because for some reason I couldn't add Sarah.
Oh. I see, hello.
There we go.
How do I make it bigger with that?
No, it shouldn't matter. You should be able to have multiple conversations. Interesting. So think about asking questions of your team. Think about some of those ways that you could use that to really speed up conversations and communication with groups of people. And at least for me, oh, Heather. So nice. At least for me, this is really a lot quicker than even emails sometimes. If it's really something urgent, this is going to pop up on my screen. It's going to get my attention right away. And I'm also going to get it to my phone. She just did colon and parentheses. There's even there is an emoji section as well.
No, yeah, that was not.
First, we get to the emojis and everybody goes crazy. My sister, I feel a little embarrassed about this. My sister just showed me how to do emojis on my Android phone. And I've had an Android phone for now.
Did you have to go to settings?
Well, I was using a different keyboard. I was using a Google keyboard instead of the Samsung keyboard. Oh, I see why. I think I added one of your, there's like a bunch of Esther, there's like Esther's with numbers after them.
Oh.
Yeah, possibly. So, now Sarah's here. So as you can see, and I don't know if any of you want to try adding somebody to there, I added everybody that was in the room. It's pretty straightforward to set that up, find it, and get started, and now you're already communicating. And if we wanted to do something crazy and hear the worst feedback you've ever heard in your life, we could all do a video chat.
Wow.
But you probably want to make sure you're muted because everybody's mic's going to be picking up everybody else's mics. It gets kind of fun. But it's that simple because there is a little video call button right on the top. So I click on that. Everybody is going to get an invite to join this Hangout. In fact, you're going to hear the trademark Hangout sound. Did it just open up on everybody's? Or do you have to click something? Click the green accept.
Oh, Georgie, I see.
I can't see.
This is.
I see Michael. Oh my gosh.
I muted my mic.
Yes, up at the top of the screen, once you're in your Hangout, there's a little mic button.
How many hangouts can you do?
You can have many chat Hangouts, but you can only have one video Hangout, I believe.
So it rotates around from person to person.
Am I still in this one? Perfect. All right.
How come Kathy's on mine?
I'm Georgie. And there's Sarah.
So the screen will automatically bounce to who's ever talking.
That's
Oh.
So that's why this is.
Wow.
If you wanted to stick with somebody, you would just click on that.
Okay.
It's not. This one's not.
That's because of how one.
Yeah.
I just saw your message. We can talk, there's something going on. Let's see. How's it? We can talk during class, but we didn't really to everybody else.
All right. So. Oh, didn't take long for making a Ebola joke.
It was like all I could do was just like, I was doing this with my eyes and just listening and I was like, shut up.
Oh, it's echo.
All right, so we can probably either mute that or you can close out of that for now.
So we just close that right.
But if you mute it and stay in, I can show you a few things first.
So when it's mute?
Okay. Josh, you invited us because in the school you invited us.
Well,
How
it's always
do
had
I invite someone out there?
So how do you invite somebody outside of the school? It says having their email. All you need is their email.
So you need an email.
So I'm going to go through starting a video hangout in a little bit without being in a hangout with a bunch of other people. And just starting one from scratch and then inviting somebody inside the hangout. And then I'll show you how to do that there. Right. But
So you need to know the email.
so having somebody's email or being connected to them on G+, one or the other. probably easier to know their email at this point for many of you. So
technically you could conference with your students if you needed to.
yes, except Hangouts, I believe, are turned off for them at this moment.
Okay.
But
We need your administrator's permission to turn it
Okay. Just worst case scenario, kids are out for, 2 or 3 weeks, they can't come to
They're in
school.
Disney.
We get Skype requests for that all the time, but by the time we get Skype set up on both ends, the parent typically chickens out because of the work required.
Got it, okay, good to know though.
Yeah.
It's a neat
So
tool.
they get a clue.
Yeah, because I got a
probably.
student who just broke dress.
Mhm.
And she was home now, she was gonna come back, but if she wasn't coming back, this would be a cool way to meet, if she has questions, and
Sure.
it was easier than I'm not trying to email me.
absolutely, and there's
Kids who are suspended, they could be watching class from home.
and I'll talk about this right now since we're already on the topic of it.
Yeah, I mean, I could have it and she could actually be part of class.
Right.
She could.
Okay, so I have your
You
email
don't
here.
have to videotape.
Did I open your email?
Live in person.
All right. So let me share this quickly while we're on the topic because I think this might be of interest to some of you. I'm going to fly ahead here. Further on. So what you've talked about is something that you can do in multiple ways. So you can have the Hangout directly with the student. But I learned about this and I thought this was very interesting. Let's say you have parent-teacher conferences and the parent wasn't able to come and you still want to give them, you have comments you want to say that you need to say to them that would make more sense. One of the things you can do is use doing the Google Hangouts through YouTube. That's kind of far out there, but we can walk through that. And using Google Hangouts through YouTube, you can actually set it to be private. So you can make it something that's on air that gets recorded. So you don't need to have any special video equipment to record it. You can record it right on air. You can do screen shares so you can show different things like this was their work. They did this thing. And then that all gets recorded and then it's private. So the only person that can see it is you or the email you shared it with. So some of the stuff you're talking about, this could be one way to do that. So I think just based on what I'm hearing, some of you might want to see how that's done. And we're getting fun ringtone music. All right, so let's bounce back to where we were at here. So we got the Hangouts in a number of ways. We just used the Gmail one. Like I said, there are several ways. You can do Hangouts through Google+, which I'm going to show a little bit of today. We're not really going to get into Google+, but I'm going to show you why it's useful for Hangouts. There's also, like I said, YouTube. You can do live events. So that's for on-air only. And so when I say on-air, there's the Google Hangouts, which we did. We did Google Hangouts. It was just between us because I invited you and you were just the only ones in there. A Google Hangout on air is like a TV broadcast. So Google Hangout on air is live to anybody who has the link and has access to it. So for those of you at the middle school, for pretty much the first 5 weeks of the school year, the announcements were live every morning. We use Google Hangouts through YouTube to do that. So we would literally record that at 7:40. And then you'd see it in your classroom at 7:50. So that's what we use for that, to do that. But there are other ways to do it. That was just the quickest way because then I could make them unlisted right away. So that way they're not out on YouTube unless somebody has the link to see it. So kind of a way to protect our kids too, so that they're not just out there in public. All right. There are some apps too. For this as well. iOS and Android both have the app. They look kind of like that. Very similar. You can do the video on a mobile device as well. And there is a Chrome extension as well. I don't know. Are most of you familiar with Chrome extensions or not really?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not so much. So there is a boot camp session on that later. But if you would like to know sooner rather than later, just obviously meet with me. I'm around today. So that's another way you can get to Hangouts too. Yes.
Mobile apps, okay, I'm thinking cost. Is that something that has to do with space or using up anything that they charge you for this?
So Hangouts are free.
Okay.
The only thing you have to worry about is data. If you're doing video chatting, obviously that's going to take data. That's streaming video. But the apps are free. And in fact, as Michael was showing me earlier, you can actually call phones through Google Hangouts now, at least through Google Plus. I'm not sure if you can do it through the app yet. Did you use the app for it? So if you have the updated, you can actually call. You can have and you can. There's a whole world in here that I'm kind of going off in tangents with, but yeah, you can make calls kind of like you can with Skype, except here it's free and you can call any phone in the country. So it's pretty cool. All right, so we did this part. We went through some of the basics. I invited you to a chat. Did everybody see how I did that, or did you get a chance to invite somebody in?
So you go to Google Gmail.
Yep, so Gmail is what we were working with. And then in that window in the bottom left, you had the little quotation mark.
Yeah.
And then to find people, and it's really easy when you're in the school because everybody's email is already in your email. You just pick their names. Otherwise, and so to get started, you click on the magnifying glass, you search for anybody, and then when you click on them, it adds them to a Hangout, and you're in. You started one. And then one thing I do want to note is this, kind of a cool thing to know about, is by default, Hangouts save all your chats. So as you do that, it's saved. So if you want to look back into, oh man, I know I was talking to somebody about this, but I don't remember if it was an email or what it was, it by default saves all of your chat messages. So those are there.
How do you save it?
Sure. So the little gear, so when you're in the Hangouts window, there's this little gear in the top right. You have a Hangouts window open. And that's where you'll see those options for whether you get notifications when people send you messages, whether you're saving your Hangouts history, if you want to archive it, or if you want to leave the Hangout so that you stop getting messages from that person until they invite you and send you again.
When you archive it, where does it go? Because I'm always like.
So archiving is like archiving an email. So it's not deleted, but it's not in your inbox anymore. So when you archive it, it's gone. My group disappeared. You are no longer on here. But all those messages are saved. It's just archived. So there's an archive section. It's called All Mail in your Gmail, and that's where you would find it. There's also a chats section as well too, where all that stuff gets saved as you do it.
Josh, can we invite people to your Hangout once you've invited us, or is that?
I believe that you can. So all of you should still be in that Hangout that I started. If you have that Hangout open, you should be able to. So the Hangout we're in is this one right here. And you do have the little person up top with the number.
Right.
When you click on that, that is where you can add people.
So Josh, let's say that I left the Hangout and I would like to go back. Do I need to be invited again?
So are you talking about the chat Hangout or the video Hangout?
Yeah, video Hangout.
So if you just left the video Hangout, if we're still in the video Hangout, you should have on that chat somewhere, you should have that open. And I don't see where it is. So if you scroll down here, maybe you can get to it through there. But you should be able to get back to a video Hangout as long as it's still active. Otherwise, you would have to get re-invited. But if the video chat's still going, you can get back in. All right. Inside the chat then, if you have the chat window still open, you can do a couple neat things. First of all, any pictures that you insert will show up in the chat as a picture, not a link. So it's a really quick way to share photos. You can also draw inside the chat. Is that useful? That is completely up to you, but you can do it.
Okay, that's
But you can do it in a tiny little canvas. It is a feature, so I felt like sharing it at the expense of full disclosure. So let's do that. And then when you put videos in, it also allows you to play the video. You can see a preview of it right inside the chat window too. There's a couple of neat things that you can do inside of there besides just share text. You can also share videos, pictures, and of course drawings. So I love drawings.
How do you get to that chat feature?
So I have a chat open here with Jenny, as I archived the one I was in with all of you. It might still be there though. There it is. Okay. So to get to those, at the very bottom here, there's attach a photo, but when you hover over attach a photo, that's when the pencil pops up to do a drawing. If you want to draw something. So it's hidden at first, so then it shows up. It's a little late to the party. And then if somebody shares a picture, you can actually click on it and draw on it. It's a crazy world.
Let's see if we can get some.
All right, so how do you get the colors to change? So when to draw on it, so let's say this photo here that I can draw on now.
I can't, nothing happens. I do it and it says join Google Plus.
Right.
For what feature? When you click on the picture. You gotta see that now.
See, if I click on the drawn image, then I did this, right? I get this.
Okay, very interesting. Good to know. I was already on Google Plus with this account, so that's where I would see those particular errors show up.
So do we have to join Google Plus? No.
I think now would be a good time to do that. And the reason being is there's some features I'd like to show before we move on. And there's going to be a lot of, like, pretty much everything after this. A lot of things are tied into Google Plus that you can get to through there.
So we have to join the video again?
All right, so you don't have to be in the video right now anymore. All right. All right. I think this is a good time. We'll do the Google Plus sign up. This is going to be super fast if you haven't done it yet. And then we'll take a little break. And then the last part will be really the resources that you're going to find really useful for making use of Google Hangouts. So on this slide, if you have this up, you have the slide show up on your screen anywhere. I actually have some directions, like the quick method for joining Google Plus if you haven't yet. It's pretty straightforward. But if you're in Gmail right now, at the top right, you have the waffle, as I like to call it. It's the app launcher. It's that small collection of 9 squares at the top right.
Okay.
And then you would go to G Plus when you click on that. At least that should be an option up there.
Okay.
Justin, would you be willing to go retro and call that the Rubik's Cube?
I can call it the Rubik's Cube for you.
But it doesn't look like a waffle.
Sure it does. Come on, you're a chef.
You're right, waffle it is.
Well, actually, if she doesn't want to call it a waffle, I think we should actually go with hers.
I don't know. I just call it the box up there.
It looks like it. Yeah. Should be good.
But if I said Rubik's Cube, no one in my class would know what that is.
All right. Got it. Good. In. Awesome. I think everybody is on.
Except me.
All right.
I'm totally not what's up here.
It's all right. Here, let's just minimize this for now.
Minimize this.
Okay. So then let's click up here on the Rubik's Cube, and then click on the G Plus for you. All right, and then it looks like you have it now. It's all set up for you. Good. You are almost out of battery. You want to charge it? You have a charger with you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When I'm in Google Plus, what do I do after that? It's
Just hang tight. Leave it open for now.
oh.
Yep. You don't need to do anything at the moment. Now would be a great time. I know we have some snacks over there. We're gonna take like 4 minutes. Stretch break.
Will we need any emails to get on there? To stay in touch with just the right people?
You're gonna want to use your peer email. You can always have another Google Plus account with a different email.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't think
I have at least 4 floating out there of me just because of different things. Which is fun when the ones I don't use, people are adding. I'm like, not this much.
Yeah. My kids are in Washington DC. So if you can set
that's why I said,
of course,
do it around the wall.
I mean, we
the
don't.
boys will text me and use Washington. Mom.
Well, I'm gonna go take a drink. I'm back. Take a drink.
It sounds like you're going to.
So how was the air today?
I had to be on GR and I finally, they said, oh, I said, then I have to remove you before for us. I said, this is inappropriate. That's all I'm gonna say about that. And Zach sat with me in the Oregon Street. I can't believe this old. Oh, you get it. Anyway, we finished the whole world. So
Really?
he's ready. Don was saying, she's like, this thing is a month old.
Oh, I
So
know.
what he wants to do with it, so.
Crank it and turn
Yeah,
something
yeah,
in.
we got it all done. Ready, now we get protected. Dylan was typing mine, I mean, he's had it for 2 weeks.
I saw it finish it, so.
So he did, and he stopped it after school.
I don't know, the inbox is like
I
3
said,
and a half,
tell you.
116.
I had like 500 in my phone. It took me all day to get rid of them.
Okay, I'll stop it.
Yeah.
Said this, right here, the line in front of it, when you finish it, have the teachers finish it. Those 2 things, now for you going to tomorrow. So we'll see. He always said like,
I just know it from the hall. Just makes it easy.
I got 3 knocks on the door.
I got my door pusher.
Oh.
They're moving up the hall.
I got kids coming into my class. Sharissa came in and sat in on the class. She was supposed to be in my class.
She comes to my class
She
all
wanted
the
to see if
time.
I noticed.
Just for fun. I've got some good girls like, that's fine. That's really, no. But
And then she just like, this is me. Hi, Sharissa. And I looked at Trevor and I'm like,
I don't know.
Sharissa, I don't want to go to the fire. I said, go inside.
it was better though. It was better.
It was tough. But
Yeah, and that's the
what
same.
we were told.
That's the we're not touching down, and that's the same thing with where, yeah, you like she told him where, but she didn't want him. So he went out to recess, and then by the time he got his lunch, I made sure right after he came in at 11 before a meeting. Yeah, and he pulled out an assignment that he had in his backpack. All right, kid. Oh my gosh.
It is very stressful. I mean, if they took our blood pressure.
Oh my gosh. You talked to Scott about that. He's hilarious. Super funny.
Well, you can tell his blood pressure when his patient.
Oh no. That is scary. Miller's on his own.
He gets more quiet than me.
So apparently I was able to have 2 hangout windows open at one time. Videos.
Well, as a matter of fact, that hangout that you created is available on my Chromebook and on my iPad. So you can apparently have the same account up on at least 2 different devices.
Were you able to get in on both of them? Oh, that's cool. It's fun when I get a call to a Hangout and I have my Nexus tablet and my phone and everything lights up at once. It's like,
Pick a device, any device.
Yeah. I prefer the stationary laptop that I don't have to.
Once again,
You have to hold
though,
up.
you are always in touch. I guess you can choose to pick up or not.
Josh, now I prefer a rotary phone. That sounds different.
Yeah.
You know, those have their benefits too. I mean, finger dexterity is really
I
important.
do like that whirling noise it makes when
You know,
it
we,
I think so.
we had
My
a,
parents still have one just to have one.
we had a rotary phone in a play that we did recently with the San Jose Theater Group that I'm a part of. And we had young people in the show. We had to train them how to use the rotary phone. They're looking at it going,
Yeah, my friend had said that one of her hipster friends has actually the plug-in, you can get the handset for your cell phone so that it makes the ringing noise and then you can pick up the handset and answer it.
I cut the phone just to hear that sound.
Nice.
Oh, I love it.
All right. I think I want to get everybody. Is everybody still hanging out in that video? I should get back with everybody then. I'm left out. Just like the baseball days. That was my position. Left out. Oh no, I don't think it's gonna let me in now. Bummer. That's weird because it let me in before, but not this time. All right.
Only one.
All right. So I just want to talk a little bit next about some of the key features that you see on the screen of a Hangout, and then actually get into some of those places to find resources for the mystery calls or to find the field trips, which is the big money stuff that is going to be super useful to you. Obviously, especially if you're in my building, even if you're not, that's another place where you can use me. If you want to do something like this, I will help you find somebody. You know, so I want to obviously have you have the resources because ideally, eventually, but if you're looking to get started, trust me, I will be all over this with you. I would love to help you get one of these started. So, so on the Hangout screen, just a few things to take note of. Most of the time, things stay out of your way. So they used to be on the screen all the time, but now they hide themselves after a while. I'm going to keep moving the mouse. But kind of all around the screen, you have different things. So this is the Hangout on Air. A Hangout on Air is going to look slightly different from a normal Hangout. So I'll show you what a normal Hangout screen looks like, and you might have one up. So if you're still in the video call, it'd be good to have that open. Things. Let me go to back here. I don't know why it keeps defaulting to my email. I do not know why. Okay. So I just took a second to. Somebody's calling somebody. I love that noise. So this is a little bit of a legend of what's happening on the screen that most of you probably see, but some of these things might be missing from yours. On the right here, does everybody see this link, or is that not on yours?
I have to get to the screen if I'm in the
Right.
if I'm in the right-hand side.
Okay.
I'm trying to get back
So
into
click
the
on
video.
click on that,
How do you get back into the video?
and then click on the green.
And then
Okay.
Another window. Go here and click on that and see what else is there.
Oh my goodness.
You must not be there anymore then.
Yeah, it is.
So how do I get back?
Yeah, you want to
That's
get back
my-
into the video call.
And then hold it, asking me, say,
You want to get back to the video call?
that's just.
Oh, that was just with Georgia?
Yep. Never too far away.
How can you get back in?
Download Hangout.
Which happens when you click.
I can share my chat with you too. Here's my chat. Here's your chat.
It's becoming.
Oh, there.
Click joiners right here.
Yep.
It'll be good. All right. Hearing myself in lots of different places. So in the top right of the screen, and maybe this is because I started the Hangout before, You see the little building in the top right?
Yeah, it looks like cell phones.
Now, when you hover over that, that's going to tell you. Is that coming from mine or somebody else's?
Oh, no.
Why don't you press on that? There we go. All right, we're good.
Oh, is yours?
Nope.
Is it mine?
Am I missing it?
Or is
It
it-
was like two right down here.
All right, so click on that building at the top right of the screen, and it should bring up a screen that says unnamed hangout. Because we didn't name it. Inside of that screen, you'll get a pop-up that pops up. So when you click on the building, on the top right. So this is currently a unified school district of the peer only meeting, meaning at this point, if you wanted to, you could not invite somebody who did not have a De Pere email address into this hangout. But every one of you has the ability to add people in. And you can also on that screen, there's a spot where you can change it so you could bring in people outside of the unified school district of De Pere. Is that the official name? Because I hear, during the course of the day, I will hear it 3 different ways.
The legal name is Unified School District.
Oh, and so you have the link too.
So we could invite other people.
Because it's picking up microphones from people, so it's jumping back and forth.
I just added
Click
my
on
sister.
this down here. It won't drop.
But she's not on it. She's not on it.
You're on
So the button that you clicked on is a way to add people to the Hangout or change some of the Hangout permissions.
How about do you have personal?
You go ahead and close that right now.
It's not mine.
But that's how you would add people.
Mine is me. No,
It's all right. You either mute or turn off the microphone. It's fine.
Yeah.
All right, so some of the other things going on here. So we have the link or building, and that's where you could add more people. As moving from right to left, we have the red phone, which is not the nuclear hotline in Russia. It's actually just going to end the call. And actually, it will disconnect you. The little gear as you move to the left is a way to choose a microphone and a webcam. So if you have a separate webcam you'd like to use, or you have a different microphone, you would go in here to flip between them underneath the gear. So that's when you hover your mouse over the very top, that should drop down. I didn't really put one on this. The lines looks like the cell towers. That's just looking at bandwidth and quality. You can mute your camera or your microphone. So many of you did that, where you clicked on the microphone, it muted your mic. And then there's also a little guy with a plus sign where you can invite more people that way too. So that's the top options that you would probably see on every single Hangout, unless I invited you to a Hangout on air, then you wouldn't see the plus guy. Look at that.
Choose more.
All right, so this one here
Yeah.
is settings. So if you have a separate microphone you're hooking up or a separate webcam, you might need to go in there to actually choose the different ones. Let's see if I can show that. In here. So here's mine. So here are the settings for that. So right now it's picking my webcam, which is in the device. It has my default microphone, default sound. So if you add speakers, different things like that, you could switch all those things up. So for instance, last year we did our graduation ceremony for Denmark. We actually used Google Hangouts on air to broadcast it to parents that couldn't show up. So we actually hooked up an actual video camera to the computer that we were using and flipped to that. So we had a little bit better quality out of that. So it's kind of cool.
Again, look at right like him.
Can you make Mickey Mouse voice that voice? You get to change the
I think this is the sound here is if you switch it to studio, I believe it can be optimized if you're playing live music. But I have no ability to play live music, so I have no way to test it out myself. I could attempt to sing, but we don't want that. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead. So those are the settings. Some of the other things on the left you may have, you may not have. The first two you probably have. You have a blue box and a green box on the top left. I think that's universal.
Yes.
The top one is a little intra Hangout chat. So if you're in a Hangout with people and you want to share notes and things like that, you can do that over here. Nobody sees it except for the people in the Hangout. And when the Hangout's done, unless you take it out of there, it's gone. So it's really good for Hangouts on air if you're doing, like I do a podcast with people on Sundays. We chat over here during the show, but nobody can see it. That's our way to communicate. So may not be the best use of things for teachers because you probably are taking notes you want to keep. So you might have a separate Google Doc you'd use. And then screen share is one I've been using a lot today. So this green one is screen share. One of the examples I'll show you later on is using screen share. You can use Google Hangouts on air to record a screencast, meaning you can record your screen and what you're doing. And it's great because on a Google Hangout on air, I think the time restriction, so let's say you did have a kid who missed class. You could record your class on a Hangout on air and just send them the link when it's done. And you could have a mix of you or whatever it is you're showing on your screen through the screen share like this. So everybody should have those two. That's probably where what we see on our screens is going to be different because I'm going to hang out on air. So you probably don't have showcase or Q&A or any of that stuff.
Yeah, like.
Do you move the cursor? Move the cursor over the screen.
So what do you see?
Click on Google.
I can make the Google Plus, go here and there.
Oh, that's interesting. That's happened to me a couple times
But
too.
it doesn't actually.
All right, I've noticed that happen before, and I'm not sure why it does. I found that when joining sometimes through the blue or the green bar in the Hangout chat, this will happen. So you wouldn't have those options. If you started the Hangout on your own, you would have.
Yeah.
And then this is interesting. You went through the Google Plus thing, right? So you should have more than that. Some options. That's strange. You might want to close it out. So some of you have them, some of you don't. For the sake of, and you have them.
Why do some have and some don't?
Some have and some don't because there's a little quirk that I discovered, and I'll have to investigate why. That if you go back into the Hangout, like in the chat, there's a little green bar that says "click to join." You can click on that, but then when you're in, you don't get those options. The other part is the Google Plus thing. So if you weren't in Google Plus, you would have fewer. So for the sake of moving along, I'll just share a couple other things with you that if we get to it, we can investigate a little later. The biggest one out of all of these that I find useful beyond the screen share and the chat is the Hangout toolbox. You probably don't see that, do you?
No.
Okay, so you would have to add that. There's a spot to add more apps on the bottom left. And this gets fun when you go to that place because there's a whole lot of different things that you can do inside of the Hangout together.
What is this thing?
So when you go into add more apps, you will get an option in there. Bottom.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where you'll get the option to add apps.
Okay.
And there is a plethora of apps. That's probably an exaggeration. There's a few apps. There's some that are fun, some that are more serious. Most are fun.
So which one are you looking for?
So Hangout Toolbox is the one that you look for. It's a little briefcase.
Oh, install. Hangout toolbox.
And here's And yeah, you have to go through the typical install thing. You have to scroll down and accept. Here's where the Hangout toolbox came in handy. At the beginning of the year, when we weren't really sure what to do with some with the IPVOs, there's a little bit of confusion with that on getting the icon up. We were actually to get around that by using a Google Hangout on Air. The problem was when you connected the IPVO to the Chromebook, it was backwards, or to a laptop, it was backwards. The Hangout toolbox allows you to mirror it so it's right. So once you add it, you get a little icon on the left there for Hangout toolbox. And there's a whole lot of different options in there. I find the mirroring option to be the best. Mine apparently doesn't want to play nice with me right now. Probably because this is being recorded, so of course it wouldn't. But when you're over there, if that was up, I would walk you through mirroring. It should be, does any of you get the Hangout toolbox up, or is it giving us the white? Oh, yours opened up. Yours showed up. Maybe it's. It's gonna open for you.
It showed up, but it's not open.
Yeah, it seems to be weird for some of us.
It's there.
And then you're just getting the white when you look at it. That's what I was getting to. Here's what I'm thinking. It might, well, no, because some of you might not have done that. Sometimes I thought it wouldn't have been an authentication thing. I'm not sure.
like mental
Oh, I have authenticated. I don't know if that makes it.
I should be authenticated from earlier today, but that might. Okay. Well, we'll move on then, since it's kind of bugging out right now. But that was the way we could mirror the webcam, so that way it was facing right. There's a couple other cool features in that, including something called the lower third. So if you're on a chat with a whole group of people, you can actually put in a little like tag at the bottom with your name on it. It's kind of cool. So that's called the Hangout toolbox, and apparently it's got stage fright. So that's kind of the basics of the Hangout window. Everybody feel comfortable that they could go in and start a Hangout at this point from Gmail?
Just click on the quotation.
Click on the quotation mark. All right. Awesome. So now it's time to mix things up a little bit. Not too much, though. All right. So you can close out of that video chat right now. I don't think we need to keep that open anymore. So we just click on the red phone. Yep, hang up in the top. The red phone.
Oh, the red phone has to be clicked.
Okay. You can either close out of the window or click on the red phone, either one.
Okay.
So now we'll get into some of those really great resources then of how to leverage this tool then in the classroom. And the beauty of it is when you connect with somebody, there's really not a lot of pressure because, everybody's that I've ever connected with is really open, really willing to work with you. And like you saw, we had some tech issues with the teacher that connected with us, and we just rolled with it and made it work. So having a plan B is always good whenever you use tech for something, especially video calls. But I'm telling you, it's way worth it. I only ended up doing one mystery call with my students, and it was one of the best days that they remembered. And the reason that it was so powerful, beyond some of the cool communication things happening between the kids and the problem solving, was the fact that we in Denmark are a very white school. Okay, it's farming population, very white. The one group that I mystery called with was an all-girls school in Washington, D.C., and every single student was African American. So the students in Denmark just don't get to see people like that very often. And I think it's really important that they get that opportunity to exchange and realize we're all the same. We're all kids, we're all the same. And that was huge to me to be able to give them that experience, to do that. So more than anything else, they got that global perspective, they got to interact, and it was fun. And I was actually very proud because my kids didn't say anything about it. It was not unusual for them, so that was cool. But it was great to give them that experience. So just a few things about it on this slide. I have got a really long blog post I'm not going to read to you, but it's really thorough on really the script. Obviously, we did a really short mystery call, but you can do it any number of ways. This guy, Paul Solars, is an awesome guy, and I hope to meet him in a couple weeks. But he goes through finding Mystery Skype. Mystery Skype was kind of the original name, but you can do it a number of ways. And then why you should do it. And he really does a great job going through the why it's important, why he does it in his class. And then some of those things that get a little more into those whys. So like he talks about collaboration, communication, critical thinking, geography skills. He talks about questioning and asking questions. So we did ours in a hurry. We threw it together really quick. And kids were asking questions like, well, do you live in this state? Do you live in this state? We kind of got the hang of it. And we started saying, well, are you having a drought right now? Or some of those different questions that we asked, some of those a little higher level questions. That's a great activity to work on questions. And then a little further down in this post, he talks about different jobs that students have. So certain students are asking the questions. Others are listening to the questions, and they're actually looking up and kind of coming up with the strategy of where they go after they answer them. So they give their students a lot of different roles to play in this. So he does a great job walking through that. And come on. And really making the case for why it's important. I actually got to meet the person this summer who, quote unquote, coined the term Mystery Skype. She's awesome. She's from New Jersey, Karen McConnell. I don't know if she was the first person to ever do it, but like it's definitely a very cool thing. A couple other links I have on here that if you want to later look at them. There's a quick video. It's like a trailer for doing a mystery call. And then there's one that's actually a video of it happening, like of a class going through and doing one. See you, Sandy. So those will be great to look at in the future. But the one thing I do want to focus on is the G+ community specific to this. So the link right on this slide opens up right to the mystery calls community. And communities are like groups on Facebook in a way. Except on G+, there's a lot of educational related groups that are really popular and active. So I had the presentation open. Did you have that open somewhere? I can push that link out to everybody through an email. That'd be fine. Find my sent message from earlier. There was, I know I sent all of you an email earlier. When was it?
Yeah, like yesterday.
No, just at 4:38. I think.
Was it after school? I thought.
4:22. And 3:44, pre-session form.
You want me to forward it back to you?
Iron chef.
Yeah, maybe I sent too many emails. That's a problem.
This Google Hangouts technically on Thursday, right?
Yeah, that's the one. Interesting. Well,
My name maybe.
I probably am not on it because I didn't sign up.
I just look cool. There's only one person.
yeah, there should only be one. Why do I not have that? Oh, am I in the wrong? No, I'm on the wrong email. That's weird. Why I can't find it. I don't delete any emails ever. That's fun. All right, let's dig in here. That's so strange. Is this it? Intervention plans? Wow. Crazy. Wait, we're in that chat together.
Yeah,
Ah,
I was gonna.
check that out. Let's use the Hangouts.
Yeah.
Ta-da! So in your Gmail, you should have gotten a message, or not? And
Yeah.
yeah. you not get that message? Maybe.
I didn't either.
No. No. It's weird because you're in there. Here, let me try this one.
Maybe I should refresh.
It should go
Oh,
instantly.
right there.
There, you got it. You get it now?
I got
Yeah.
it over
Yep, you got the link now.
Okay.
All right, so that's the mystery call community. So that's the place where if you're looking to do an activity like this, you could find classrooms to hook up with. And as near as I could tell, like there's a very wide variety. There's, I believe, almost 1,000 members of this. It's got some links. And then almost daily, there's somebody who's putting something out there, asking for somebody who could do one of these. So there are a lot of teachers who want to be involved and do this. And as far as joining, they should see something near the top of the screen. I think it's a blue button for joining. I'm in it with this account. Is it a red button? Google Plus is red, everything else Google is blue. So then that's one of the communities I wanted to show you. There's another one that goes hand in hand with it, and I'll send that link out through the Hangout chat. And it's called Connected Classrooms Workshop. It's very similar, but it's a much larger pool. There's over 14,000 people inside that community, so a lot more people to connect with. But the one thing they do in there is the actual Google runs this, and they will publish usually weekly one of those virtual hangout or virtual field trip type opportunities for people. So let me get this link to everybody. I think there's just a little form that you have to fill out in order to join it, but it's not really too stringent.
The this is from community.
Okay, so that was the other one.
Okay, ask to join.
And you might, yes, this one. So with the Connected Classrooms Workshop, this one, I know there used to be a form you would fill out, but I think you can just get in now I think you can just join the community now, yeah.
Josh,
Good.
you sent us what is it, the link. If I want to, I'm trying to copy it and save it to my notes. How do I do that? Can I see anything? I mean, can I copy anything?
Absolutely, right in the chat here?
Yes.
Sure. If you just do the alt click or the 2-finger tap,
Yeah.
you can copy link address.
Okay.
So those are probably the two biggest Google Plus communities for those specific purposes. There are other avenues to connect. Like I talk about Twitter a lot. So if you're ever ready to come to the table on that, that's where I make a lot of my connections on things like this. So the teacher that we met here today, that was through Twitter. And I wasn't even following her. It was just, I connected with people who I connect with usually, and they got it. And they eventually got it to somebody who was able to do it. It's amazing what all these different connections can do. And so that is definitely the next leap, but I didn't want to go to that point yet. I wanted to go direct to some sources that wouldn't take you a lot of time to get hooked up with, but could be great resources for you for this. So did everybody get the links to the mystery calls and the Connected Classrooms Workshop? Excellent. And if you want to take a second, let's take a couple minutes. You can explore those a little bit and see what's in there. See what types of people are posting on them and what the different classes they're looking for. So on the Connected Classrooms one, look at that. They have Lois Lowry is going to be on a Hangout coming next Monday? Anybody here read The Giver?
No.
Yes.
I went through the series this summer.
Yeah.
And she just finished that series up not too long ago. I was surprised to see that.
Where did you see her?
So in the Connected Classrooms workshop community,
Connected classrooms.
so you right now are you are in it, so it's at the top.
It's at the top. Okay, so. Is that her? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So then on Monday, there's gonna be a virtual field trip. Usually when they put those out, there's a link on the side here.
It's at the top.
There's a link on the side of how to join a virtual field trip. So there are plenty that you can watch, but it'd be even cooler to get your kids in one. So you fill out, there's a form connected to that, and you can be on the short list to be involved in one of those, which would be really cool. But I mean, it's an amazing free opportunity, and they post those pretty much weekly for lots of different things. There's one last year that was with the Baseball Hall of Fame, which maybe useful for some of your classes or not. But they do have a lot of virtual field trip opportunities, which is great because when you don't have the money or the time to take kids places, it's the next best thing.
So can you conjure up a field trip? Can you just type something in? Like, could I type in Machu Picchu, for example, and there might be some sort of a field trip type situation, or is this just like a podcast?
So are you talking more like you could physically somebody walking through Machu Picchu?
Yeah, something that would have been created.
There might be tours through like Google Earth for things like that. There might be different things for that.
How do you search for a field trip? Or you don't?
So as far as in the community itself for doing virtual field trips, there's a specific tag for it on the left side. There's virtual field trips. I'm near the top on the left. And then anything that's tagged for them as a virtual field trip goes up there. Otherwise, I would just Google it. I would Google virtual field trips and just see what's out there. Like, this is a place where it's collected for you. It's a curated resource, so it's pretty trustworthy and all that good stuff. But I Google lots of stuff. And there may be more opportunities out there than I know of. One thing I did want to mention about virtual field trips that kind of speaks to what you're talking about in a sort of around the horn kind of way. Last year in the spring, I saw a video posted and actually ended up being in the news where at Schwabenon had a 4th grade class that took a tour of the Neville without going there because one of their tech people had Google Glass. So they connected via Google Hangout with the Google Glass. And so he went to the museum and got to do a virtual tour that way. Now Google Glass is a $1,500 piece of equipment. So there's that limitation. But there are things like that that are happening. So there may be things like that out there for Machu Picchu. One thing I might be able to help you with, because one of my friends at Denmark is a Spanish teacher. I know she is a former student who lives in, I don't know which country, but I know it's a Spanish-speaking country. And that she's had Google Hangout with her class before too. And also I think blogs as well, which would be really cool for, I think, Spanish students to experience that. So maybe I can hook you up with her to do that. So not Machu Picchu, but. So there's lots of virtual field trips through that. You know, I'll keep my eyes and ears open for things that happen along the way, but that's a good starting point for it. There's also a couple other things that happen. I showed the space station video, a little bit of it earlier. Those things happen occasionally. I don't know if that one was through this site or if it was through NASA's G+ page. So it's one of those things that's out there, but you kind of hear through the grapevine a little bit. Then there's another thing that happened last summer in 2013 called Hangouts in History. So they'd have an actor dress up and play the part of, let's say this is probably Queen Elizabeth, and they would ask them questions and they would answer like they were from that time period. But the cool thing with that is there's no reason why that could be something we set up locally and do our own little Hangouts in History. I think that'd be a really cool thing to set up. Not sure on that one. That'd be cool. All right.
What kind of phone she'd have? I don't know.
If Queen Elizabeth had a phone, what type of phone would she have?
Just have a servant that holds up one of those horns to her. I think history, you think the myths. That is.
Another thing that Google Hangouts have been great for that I've used them for is getting connected with colleges. So I taught a personal planning class at the high school level. So one of the things that was the topic was colleges. And so I thought, well, we could take a field trip. My principal didn't really want to pay to take a field trip. So I talked to UVGB and said, hey, is there any way that you can hang out with us? So their admissions person and their intern spent about 30 minutes, and we did a Google Hangout where my students got to ask questions about admissions and about college and all sorts of things. It's actually a great activity because I really tried to put it on the students to run it. So they had it's called a back channel chat. Has anybody used the back channel chat before, like today's meet? So basically it's like a chat room that you can set up for your class where they can ask questions in the background, and then you can have somebody who's looking at the questions. And then what I had was on half the screen I had that going so the students could see them, and then the other half were the questions. So I'd rotate students through, and they would ask the questions and communicate with people there. So it was great to get experts in. I was fortunate enough to get a computer programmer once to Google Hangout. Nice to meet you, Sam. I got a programmer once to Google Hangout with my class, which was really cool. He actually had worked on Tomb Raider, a pretty popular video game, at one point in his career. So I had that opportunity. So there are lots of cool things that I was able to do through Google Hangouts and some of the connections that I was able to get. Once again, I'm going to push on how Twitter helped me do some of those things. But just because I'm saying that Twitter was good for me doesn't mean that you necessarily have to go out there and be gung-ho. Ask me. If you want to do something like this, I will help you find people. So
Is Facebook equally as?
Facebook can be good because of this. You have your friends and contacts that are professionals in different areas. Yeah, LinkedIn could be great too. I personally haven't used it like that, but I certainly could. Absolutely, because there are those organizations. I think we all kind of find that thing that works really well for us. I found Twitter and G+, but obviously there's lots of social networks. And that's huge, is if you know somebody who does this type of thing, and that would be really useful for your kids to hear about that from somebody who's doing it, ask them to come in. It's a lot easier to ask them to video chat with you than to travel all the way to your school and travel all the way back and do all of that. I think it's a little bit easier on the person as well as on you to set that up. And they were nice enough to let me do this on air, so this is recorded, which is cool. All right, another thing that I've used this for a little bit is the screencasting side of things. So I've thrown that word out there a lot, and all it means is you're recording your screen. That's the fancy word for recording what you're doing on the computer screen. But the cool part about it is there's really no limitation. You have, I think, up to 8 hours, which obviously you're not going to go for 8 hours. But you can flip between yourself and you can show something physically in front of the camera, or you can show something on your screen. So this one is exactly what I'm doing right now. Like, I set up a Google Hangout on air, and so it's currently recording my screen and recording my voice. As I click stop, and it loads back up, and I'm going to pop back up. So you can flip back and forth. And when you do think about doing that, it's great for absent students. It's great for students who fall behind, that you don't have to be there to give them the instruction again. You have it somewhere. It's really useful for that. And a lot of the people who do a lot of screencasts, and they call it flipping, when they usually use a lot of videos to do the instruction that way. These kids like it much better when they actually see you in the video, because you can go find a video from anybody. But if you made the video and you're in it, then there's that connection with the teacher. So how do we do that? That's great. So I'm going to show you how to start a Hangout on air, and then I'll show you. I'm in one right now. All I did to show my screen was this green button, screen share. So once you're in one, and right now on the bottom, you can see how it says stop broadcast in red. That means it's currently live and ongoing. But when you start a Hangout on air, that'll be green to start broadcast. And it starts recording once you click on that. To do a Hangout on air, to start one, there are lots of ways to get to it. Probably the easiest way, and something that I just found out last night when I shared this out for some feedback on it, is this site. So Google Plus, you can get to it. You can do it through YouTube. But this site right here, all you have to do is click on one thing and it starts a Hangout on air. It's just called oneclickhangout.com. I was blown away by that because I had never heard of that. So instead of having to go through the process of setting up an event and doing all of that, there's just a few clicks involved. This is just one click. You got to hang out on air. And we all like less clicks. Less. And then the beauty of it is that when you're done, it automatically goes to your YouTube channel, which you have through your Google accounts. So you don't have to do anything with the video once it's done if you don't want to. It just goes to your YouTube channel and it's there. Let's see where we're at for time. I'm gonna wrap up here pretty soon. Let me show a couple other things. And then I know a lot of you are interested in the like the private video through YouTube, like if you want to do a parent-teacher conference or something like that. So I'll show that at the very end. And of course, any questions you may have. We talked about the communities, screencasting. This is something now I'm going to show at the very tail end. Here's how to set up one of these kind of private chats. I showed that clip of EdCamp Home. So I use Hangouts quite a bit for professional development. So EdCamp Home required me to give up very little of my time. I didn't even have to get dressed. I just sat at home and I got to learn from some of the greatest minds in education and great experience. And that's a good deal because a lot of the trouble of getting places is the expense, the time. Like I had an event this last weekend at Camp Home, and there's a lot of stuff that happened this weekend. There was homecoming, there was, some sickness, there were different things like that where you physically just can't come and go somewhere because, life's busy. But if you had a couple hours and you could be at home, so if something came up, you could just leave, and then you didn't have to pay anything, that's great. So there were a lot of opportunities for that. The video I have here on this was actually this virtual slam session we did at the end of our Ed Camp. There was one in Green Bay, so that was at Denmark High School. And there was also one in Fond du Lac. So we did a Google Hangout on Air to connect the two Ed Camps, and at the end of our day, we flipped back and forth with people sharing some cool thing they learned during the day. And the best part about doing the professional development this way is that it's all there, it's all recorded. So if you get tapped into that and you know it's there, then that's a great resource to go get stuff.
My question is then, how do you all coordinate this? Is it all by email that you coordinate what time you're going to hang out?
So when it depends on what the situation is. If I'm doing, let's say, one group, we hang out once a week, we just use our Google Hangout chat. And so we just communicate within the chat. If it's a situation where I'm bringing somebody in, we'll probably email back and forth to set that up, or tweet back and forth to set that up.
So that's not a hassle?
It's never been for me, but that's where, like I said, if you want to start this, I would love to help you, because trying to agree upon a time, it just takes some time to get that set. Sometimes it's easy. Like with the person I had here, we were set, and the big thing was it had to be a West Coast school because we're way after. We couldn't do East Coast. We couldn't even do Mountain Time because the school's already done. So I had to get somebody West Coast, and I had to make sure they could do it within our time frame. And then she ended up having a DARE class at the time we were originally going to go. So there was just a little bit of back and forth, but it wasn't that took up a ton of time. Just a little bit. So I mean, yeah, there's always going to be a little bit of time in coordinating. I found it to be very worth it to do it, but that's obviously a decision you have to make. And then websites, like the EdCamp Home thing. They have a website where that's all housed at, where they have the details for EdCamp Home. All right, document camera. This is something I learned that I thought was cool. Pretty simple. I just invited myself to a Hangout, so then I connected on my phone, and then I could use my phone camera as a document camera. So if you don't have a document camera, but you want to show something in a pinch, there you go. So this is actually from what my phone is seeing, and then I just took that picture to show you I was using a phone. So that's kind of cool. So if you really need a document camera in a pinch, you can use if you have a smartphone, you can. Now, I don't know if you can invite yourself to a Hangout and do it with a phone. I use my school account and my personal Gmail account to do it. But just kind of a cool in a pinch strategy. I felt I had to throw it in there. And then live events. I think I might have said this at the beginning. We recorded Denmark's graduation with the Google Hangout on air, which was really cool. The principal said they got a lot of nice calls from parents that they got the whole family around to partake in an event, which otherwise they could not have. Yeah, it was not the greatest camera quality. The sound wasn't that great, but the fact that they could see their relative, their grandson, their nephew graduate and see that moment, and how that moment is recorded in time forever.
And I did watch my niece graduate, and she was down in Atlanta, and I could take snapshots of her from my iPad.
Just like a screenshot?
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a lot of different ways to live stream. This is certainly not the only way to live stream. It's the way that I found because it's so simple and easy to set up. But there are other ways to set up live streams. I just lean towards this because it is simple and kind of connected to Google stuff. All right. So then if you'd like, I can go through showing how to set one up on YouTube. Otherwise, we can be done. It's already past 5:35. Totally your call.
Can you do it?
Certainly do it for whoever wants to see it. It's not the only thing that takes a couple steps to enable some things, but it's kind of weird just clicking around. That's why I'd like to show it. But Chromebook is screaming at me after having a million tabs open all day. Everybody there?
Yep.
Yell at me if you're not. All right. An intake of breath. No? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click on those 3 lines at the top by YouTube, and then go down to my channel. It's the second option. They made this a lot harder to find than it used to be, but it's the only way to do a private session is through YouTube. Yeah, using YouTube to do something private. Yeah, I know. You totally can.
Free. That's what's weird.
Until they find out.
All right, once you click on my channel, then up at the top, you should see Video Manager. Should be near like the top middle. So from my channel, you see, okay, click OK. Oh.
Video Manager, okay. Then click on that.
Yep.
I have to write one.
Okay. And then once you click on Video Manager, then you'll be looking for live events on the left side. So we're probably going to see vastly different things. When I click on live events on the left side, I'm going to be able to just make a live event. You are probably going to see something different.
Video?
So live event. So you're going to get a screen. You should get a big blue button that says Enable Live Stream.
Mm-hmm.
So the process for that is you click on that, and that's going to just walk you through a few steps. What's gonna end up happening is you'll need to give a phone number for them to send a code to, because they wanna make sure you're a real person. At least that's what I'm convinced of.
Or YouTube gets lonely and just wants to call me.
That's right.
Did you click on that? So I didn't say enable live.
Sometimes YouTube does get lonely.
Yeah.
It's not funny. So, next thing you show up with candy powder, like,
And you maybe get married, we'll get married. Josh, what's the
Okay,
difference
so I
again?
call, so
What's the
text me with
What's the difference again between the Google Plus and YouTube? Is it any difference?
Well, G Plus is more of a social network. YouTube is a video streaming service.
Alright.
But they're all kind of interconnected since Google owns them all.
What in my cell phone? Are they gonna call me?
Well, you have a choice. They can either call you with an activation code or they text it to you. They text you an activation
Okay, I'll do it. Okay, if I do it, can I, like, what if I decide not to be connected to that anymore? Is there any way I can, like, disconnect?
code. So disconnect your number from YouTube. That's a great question. I don't know the answer to that. Your number is not public. Your number is used for the purposes of sending you that code.
You're not gonna sell it to
And they're not looking for people to abuse it. Like I found out that you can only use your number, the same number twice to get a code to start up a YouTube channel. Like once a year. So like I can no longer use my number to set up any more YouTube channels. Like I can't. I have to use other numbers. Not that I need to set up a ton. There's a few different things I was doing. Sounds like I'm proliferating YouTube channels.
Okay, so what do you think? Shall we?
If you're not looking to use this service right away, I wouldn't bother going through it. Yep. If you find that you want to do this, then talk to me when that time comes.
Okay.
And then we'll walk through it then.
Okay.
Because obviously I don't want you giving your number out any more than you want to. So I can say as much as I want to that it's secure and it's safe. I have no idea.
It's just Google Docs, right? Okay. Well, then I think I'm done.
All right. Well, we are at the end of the road then. So I just want to say thank you for our small cozy group. I appreciate it.
If you just come here. So even if like I miss that invitation and I know about it, I can still come, right? Because then the
Come.
last time I didn't, yeah.
Yeah. You know, just
So last time, but it was
there's
too late for me.
yeah, there's no, bouncer at the door saying you can't come in, checking a list. Like learning should be free. So it's nice. I mean, please don't make that a habit just because for planning purposes, it's nice to know who's going to show up when. But if you find at the last minute, it's like, oh, I can come now, show up.
I used to have on here, I mean, I can do it with the buttons down